Hey everyone, today we're going to look at Stocktake. What I've kind of done here is generated a basic Stocktake within Baseplan Enterprise. So you can see here, you can navigate to this by clicking the Stocktake module, procedures, and prepare Stocktake. Um, Ultimately, hit the new button, add any adjustments to different filterings that you need to, so you can specify certain equipment, you can specify certain items, specific bins, all that kind of information can be filtered in here. When you're ready, you hit actions and you press autofill, and it will go and grab all the relevant parts here. So you can see there's a fair few parts within this particular environment. Um, as for the mobility side of things with BMA, two new options have been added to this screen, one being show existing quantity and the other one being allow items to be added to the list. This will allow you to control the user's interactions with the mobile application. So show existing quantity will basically control whether the count is blind or not. So show existing quantity means exactly what it suggests. So as a user is counting, if this is ticked, they'll be able to see the existing quantity, and that will allow them to, potentially kind of just put in that number. So this allows you to basically have it toggled on or off to control whether they can see the existing quantity or not. The next one, allow items to be added to the list. Purely just allows, as it says, right? So you can search for items that aren't in the list and add them to your Stocktake. So a great example of this is if you have somebody that does spontaneous kind of spot checking and they don't want to filter for, in this case, hundreds of parts, they can simply create a Stocktake with one part on it. They could manually add that part in the first place. And then what they can do is, assuming they have a warehouse and a singular part, they can then use the mobile app to add parts on a kind of case by case basis as they walk around the warehouse. So this means that they can scan a part, which we'll see shortly. They can scan a part, and then they can quite simply just add that item rather than looking for all of these items or specifically selecting 50 at random. They can kind of do it as they walk around the warehouse. So much more productive way to do it. Once we're happy, I can hit generate, and this will generate the Stocktake. So we can see here it says generated, and now if I move across to the Stocktake entry screen and filter for the most recent one, we can see all those parts here. So there is a fair few in here. This screen allows you to view all of the parts, the old quantity, the allocated quantity, so any parts that have already been allocated to a service job via a parts issue, the new quantity, which is ultimately what we're going to be changing today via the mobile app. The current process involves printing all of them out on pieces of paper and then walking around and ticking them off or adding the numbers via pen and paper. From there, as you can imagine, the process then consists of giving that paper or multiple pieces of paper back to whoever is kind of doing the administration, and then they enter it all back into this screen. So that is ultimately what BMA is replacing, is that process of printing off the paper and entering it back in. We can obviously see a bunch of other different fields related to current quantities, current quantity after variances. So if there's any variance, you'll be able to see that. And then we can also see, the cost that's attributed to all the variance. So for example, current quantity of 9, edit. Current quantity of 9 here, if I change this to 15, and hit save, we'll see the cost variance adjusts. Cool. So I'll now move across to the mobile application. Moving across to the mobile app, we can now see the parts count activity card is now appearing on the unallocated list. We can see it's got its own parts count filter to easily allow you to filter for these parts count items. One thing to keep in mind is each warehouse within a Stocktake will appear as its own card. So in the example of having within a singular branch or location, there could be the warehouse where all the parts are located. Then you can also have, the need to count the amount of items, quantities within the service technicians' vans. So as they're likely set up as their own individual warehouses within Baseplan, you would see those as their own items. We can now see all the items within the parts count that we generated earlier. Obviously, in that example, there was a lot of items in the background here, so we can see all of those populated down the list. Starting at the top, we can see which warehouse and branch this is related to, and we can also use the search function to filter accordingly. So I can easily type in a specific stock item, e.g. 00852, and we can tap on that particular line item so that we can count that. In this case, I've actually already pressed on it before, hence why it says in progress. In progress is used to basically indicate to other users that might be counting at the same time, hey, someone's already counting this. This pop-up will appear, and you can obviously press yes if you want to override it. Sweet. You'll be left with a screen like this. We can see details around the item. We can see the bin name. So in this case, there's a singular bin, and we can see the quantity of that bin there. So that's where obviously we'd enter in the quantity. If there's multiple bins for a particular item, you'll see multiple down the screen. So as an example, you might see 3 different bins, and then there'll be 3 different quantity fields there as well to populate. The way that works, you enter in the quantity. So I'm just going to say, I think from memory, it's roughly around 3,000. So I'll just say 3,000. The way it would work is that you would enter in the quantity for each of the bins, and it will then use the sum of all of those bin quantities as the total count. I can then press complete, and that is now done. So that means that it now flows into the done column. So from a user's perspective, you can quite easily distinguish between to do and done, and obviously removing the filter. You can now see a list of all the to-do items there. If there was any in progress, you'd be able to see that, and recount will look at it shortly. So you can quite easily, get a good understanding of kind of what's happening. This becomes really helpful if there's multiple people doing this at the same time, so that you can kind of see overall how the count is going. Awesome. The best way to kind of count this is obviously by scanning a part. So if I scan a barcode, you can see a barcode there. This is actually for that item I already counted. So you'd see for any items that have been counted, you'll see something like this. So you'll see the quantity being 3,000 that I entered. You'll see who did it, and you'll see the date and time of when that was completed. So I can actually go and change that count if I want. And I could change that to 29999. There we go. And obviously now that will update as well. So scanning the barcode is obviously the quickest way to do it, and the way you would want to kind of go about this. And then obviously if a barcode is damaged or got anything wrong with it, you can definitely search up the item individually there. Awesome. So plenty of items there, pretty simple. What I'll do now is move back across to the enterprise version. There we go. So we can see now if I refresh, cool, and filter by new, there we go. We can see the item that I updated. We can see, there you go, the variance. I was kind of close, kind of not. We can see the variance is updated around how much it's worth and how much, has gone wrong from a counting perspective. So that would be a great candidate of a recount. So what I can do is, tick the recount box. So obviously in real life, all of these would kind of come back before you do this process. You could do it in real time like I'm doing, but in reality, the best way to do it is kind of in waves. You could then go down and tick all the recount boxes for the ones that you think should be recounted, and then going back to the parts count. If I just refresh, make sure I've got all the most up-to-date data, and open it up, go to recount, we can now see the recount items are there. So from a process perspective, you would have it that recount is something that you kind of communicate with the counters. So something along the lines of, hey, can you guys please go and process all the recounted items, and then they can now go through and look for those individually within the warehouse. Obviously, the bin is available to be seen there, so that can definitely help with finding the specific part. And then obviously, similar process here, come in and enter in a number. So I think it was something like this, 3918. If I bounce back to enterprise and hit refresh, we can see very fast update. I was still wrong, but this might be kind of within the range that you're looking for. One thing to keep in mind is from a mobile perspective, from a BMA perspective, these parts counts don't disappear from the activities screen until the corresponding Stocktake entry has been closed. So there's no complete button from a mobile perspective, just making it kind of simple. And then once these are kind of accepted at the end, then the item will disappear.